of Eternity. We're having a discussion with some special guests about The Walking Dead, Episode 3 of Season 6, called Thank You. And this is your official spoiler warning. If you have not seen this episode, you will not want to watch this video.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, leaving off from where Mark just said, if you have not seen this episode, you do not want to watch this video. So go watch the episode and then come back, and hopefully our time machine will start working, because every time we do one of these, we always have a problem with the flux capacitor. So
hit the steering wheel.
Yes. Listen, I'm Don Willi, and I will be taking over from Mark until he returns. And, the other special guest, would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Hey, everybody, I'm Josh from GeekonReview. My partner, Anna, is at work tonight, so she's not going to be here. But I think I'll do all right, hopefully.
Okay, and I am Don Willi, and as you know, sometimes we have to do. We've got to keep the ball rolling. So today is our discussion, as Mark said, of season 6 of The Walking Dead, episode number 3, called "Thank You," and we more specifically wanted to talk about the death of Glenn. And I'm hoping we can get Mark back in here quickly so that we don't have to leave him behind at all. I'm trying to stall for time right now. Oh, man.
Just overall, how did you enjoy the episode? Not even talking about the, quote, death, but just the overall episode.
You know what? When I did my original review for episode 1 of the season, I was so hyped for that, and I thought that you couldn't top that episode, right? So I had already lowered my expectations for anything after that. Episode 2, a lot of people liked episode 2 more than episode 1. I thought episode 1, just because of the way that it started and it just kind of like kept it at 10 for the entire episode, I liked that one better. And then episode 3 came around and I was just blown away. I was like, wow, like it's like that scene in Spinal Tap where guys like, this goes up to 11.
Turn it up to 11, yeah.
Oh yeah, so it was absolutely amazing, and even with all the death and confusion and the suspense, I mean, that was the thing that really got me, was the suspense, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wow, how could you put these people in worse situations? And somebody just hit me up and said, can't see me on the video for whatever reason. They can hear me, but they can't see me. Oh, wow, that is kind of crazy. Hold on, let me see if I do this. If you can see me now, send me a message, because I wasn't looking at the chat. It's kind of crazy if that was the case. All right, but you know what? In the meantime, how did you feel about the episode?
Well, kind of like you, I really enjoyed episode 1. Just stylistically, I thought it was one of the very best of the entire series. Just the black and white flashbacks. It kind of reminded me of Night of the Living Dead, and I got a really big kick out of that. Episode 2 was probably my favorite episode of the short season we have so far, just 3 episodes. I like 2 the best. 3, I enjoyed overall. I have major problems with the scene we're about to talk about, though.
I mean, listen, while I have major problems with that one, and I'm surprised that this thing is still hitting me up on there. Okay, that's why. Man, oh man. All right, yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties, everyone, and we're not sure exactly what happened to Mark either at this point. I'm trying to message him, see if we can get him back on. And for my friends from Hype Watch who are messaging me on Google Hangouts, I can hear you in the video. So please put your messages in the chat room. Oh, here we go. Mark.
Hey, he's back.
Okay, so hopefully that will resolve our issues. But I guess, yeah, you might want to continue with just how you felt overall about the episode.
I thought this was a great Michonne episode, really. Not talking about the scene that we're, here to discuss, but just off topic. Michonne was amazing in this episode, and just how she kind of put Heath in his place after he was digging at her all episode. That's probably my favorite part of the episode, was when she really kind of gave him the smackdown. And then how that kind of came around where, like, she's like, you don't know what it's like. You've never been covered in blood, and you don't know if it's yours or a Walker's or a friend's. And then at the end of the episode, he looks down in the water, and he sees his reflection, and he's covered in blood, and he doesn't know who it is. I just thought just the kind of poetry there I thought was awesome.
Yeah. That was yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, because you got to think, like, what would you do in that situation where, you're seeing people ripped apart, and it's a totally different feeling than you ever thought you would have to actually experience. But Mark is back, so Mark, your overall on the episode before we jump headlong into what was probably one of the most tragic events that I have ever witnessed.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think my overall feeling of the episode, because it wasn't quite as positive as yours. I was too scarred by this event that we're about to talk about. But other than that, I felt there was too many red shirt deaths, which I thought was a bit over the top. I mean, I did like elements of it. Like, I liked how I agree with Josh what he was saying about Michonne, that this was a very powerful episode for her. I like her conversations with the guy saying you're going to make it back, and then after he dies, sort of wiping it off her arm. But so there are parts of it I like, but overall, I'm not too happy with it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely different from the two of us with that one, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't love everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about Glenn's death. Now, before we get into some of the conspiracy theories out there, let's tackle like how we thought about the death in particular. If assuming for the moment that he's dead, like what your feelings were on this, because I kind of sort of already explained this, but I was not happy with it. When I first saw it, I was ready to rage quit the show. And I was like, because this was a character who's been there since like the very first episode. And that was such a lousy way to go out. Because when Nicholas shot himself, I thought, okay, Nicholas is going to shoot himself. But then when he falls on Glenn and throws him off, and I was like, oh, come on. That's such a lousy way for such a great character to die. Yeah. So what were your guys' thoughts on that?
Do you want to go first, Don?
Yeah, sure. When I saw that, I did think it was kind of weird because I was thinking to myself, why wouldn't Glenn just let Nicholas's body fall, and then maybe try to find some way to escape? Because it did look like he was trying to catch him, and he just kind of got overpowered and wound up falling. And I just remember yelling at my TV because I was thinking, like, come on, not him. And it's funny because I was also chatting with my friend T-Baby, who's actually in the chat room right now. And earlier in the episode, I remember texting her and saying, I hope Glenn doesn't die. And this is way before this. I don't remember exactly what it was that kind of tipped me off to that he could die, but there was something that just kind of got me, and I was like, oh, I hope they don't kill So yeah, that was heartbreaking. I remember, you know, opening up a bottle real quick and taking a couple shots because was all I could do. You know, fired up the vape machine and just sat here and just puffed away and you know, and just thought to myself, this is heart wrenching.
Yeah. For me, I was really angry because, first of all, I had the episode spoiled for me.
Yeah.
People posted in my comments, and I saw them. So I was expecting it going into it. But then I thought, nah, there's no way they'll do this, and I kind of blew it off. And then when it happened, I was like, no way, they actually did it. So my mind was kind of blown from that direction. But then also, like, it felt really cheap and just kind of random and pointless and meaningless. And so I thought, for a character of that stature, he's been there since the very beginning. And for somebody who's been there since the start, for their death to be meaningless like that and completely out of the blue, I thought it was very unsatisfactory. Because when you look at Beth, she had basically 2 full episodes centered around her, and she's a pretty minor character. And when Tyrese went, he had a whole episode centered around him with his hallucinations and everything. So for Glenn to not be that heavily featured and then go down like he did, oh man, it's infuriating. That's if he's actually dead, which I'm not sold on.
yeah, we'll get into that soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking along the same lines as you, but I do think an argument could be made that they were sort of setting up Glenn with this whole storyline with Nicholas, because this has started since the season finale of last year, where he sort of spared Nicholas's life and is sort of trying to bring him back and everything, and now that comes back and bites him in the ass that he should have just killed Nicholas in the first place. So there's that argument that could be made as well.
There's that, but if that's the complete story, I feel like that climax comes a little too soon. Like you said, it was the season finale where they finally had it out, and then basically since Glenn wasn't in episode 2, you've got 2 episodes with Glenn in them later. So that feels a little rushed to me to finish that story out.
I mean, well, they did say on The Talking Dead that we're going to see, if not flashbacks, we're going to see parts of Glenn. Like it's not going to be a thing where it's kind of left hanging, and we'll find out, ultimately how he goes or how the group finds out about him. Something to that effect. I don't remember the exact wording, but I do remember them saying something about seeing parts of Glenn. Hopefully they didn't mean body parts, because that would just be messed up to just see the watch that Herschel gave him, or just the walkie-talkie or something. So I mean, yeah. I mean, what's funny, because I didn't even think about the Beth episodes or even the Tyrese episode when he died. I just was sitting here in shock and man, like it's like
hits you right in the feels.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I'm not quite as big as a fan of The Walking Dead as you guys are. Like, I still really like the show, and I've seen every episode, but one of the problems I have with the show overall is its ability to just kill off characters like crazy. So I kind of sort of had enough of that, and I don't mind these minor characters die. Like if Sasha went, I really wouldn't bother it, but then just killing off Glenn, I was just thinking I've had enough of this. Just stop doing it. It's not interesting anymore.
I mean, well,
losing a character doesn't. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say somebody's got to one-up Game of Thrones at some point. And if it's not going to be Walking Dead, who is it going to be?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's losing a character every once in a while. Since I've been reading the comics since the very beginning, so this is something I'm very used to. So and then I mean, if you compare the longevity of the show versus the comics, these characters stay around a lot longer in the comics because it's once a month. So you're talking, I mean, been spending time with these characters for over 10 years, I think. So when you lose somebody, it kind of hits you pretty hard. So I don't know. The show, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as invested in the characters in the show. Although, yeah, it is pretty rough when you lose one.
Well, yeah, I actually have the compendiums. Like, I bought compendium number 3 yesterday, and it's funny because I still haven't even read through number 1 yet. But I'm like, you know what? Sooner or later, I'm going to get to these, and I'm going to just tear through them as quickly as possible because I'm tired of people, and you know who you people are, spoiling the damn comic books for me.
I was going to answer one of my questions. I won't talk about the comics.
Oh, well, I was actually going to bring up the comics later on, but
okay.
It's all right because I don't mind it being spoiled, but we won't talk about it, Don, if you don't want it to be spoiled for you.
I mean, listen, at this point, there's not much more I can be spoiled on. I just want to actually read it and just see how it unfolds now.
Yeah. All right, so let's just go ahead and talk about the theories on question of whether or not Glenn is actually dead, because that's a huge question on everyone's mind. I've seen in the chat room they've been like sort of talking about this already, because there has been reports that the actor has been seen is still filming for season 6, so that makes people think, well, that's sort of proof that he's still alive. But then, as someone in the chat room mentioned, they have done sort of artsy sort of hallucination flashback things, like with Tyrese's death episode. He saw like all these dead people and stuff. They like to do stuff from time to time, so it could just be something like that. So what are your thoughts, do you think, of him actually being seen filming? Do you think that means he's alive, or do you think that means that it could possibly just be a flashback?
I think he's alive, and I think I know the image you're talking about, the photograph. I saw this completely by accident because I don't like spoiling myself. I like to be, I like the anticipation and to be surprised. But I think I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. But I don't know. My opinion, I think he's still alive. I think he's definitely filming for episodes in the present, in quotation marks, rather than flashbacks.
Yeah, I would actually have to agree with that. I had another friend actually send me the photo that you're probably talking about, and had I known that it was going to be the photo, I wouldn't have clicked on the damn link. So thank you very much.
Same thing happened to me.
Thank you very much, Sir L.T. Giles. Yeah, so it appears that we are going to see him, and it's funny because, like, I went back and I looked at the trailer for season 6, and the trailer only shows, like, as far as Glenn is concerned, they only show him up to episode 3, and I think they don't, like, because you see a shot of the dumpster with all the walkers around it, and you don't see Glenn. And I think there may be like 1 or 2 other shots of Glenn in there, but you don't see Glenn after that, and then everything else kind of flashes by so quickly that I'm not sure what episodes those are, like how far in the future those episodes are supposed to be from. So, and somebody just asked what photo. I'm not going to tell you what photo. Come on.
But
okay.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask you, Josh, because on your video you had sort of an interesting sort of commentary about him sort of possibly scooching towards the dumpster. If you want to talk about
we slowed it down and probably rewatched it 30 times at least. And as you're looking basically from the perspective of Glenn's chest at his face, he's definitely kind of scooching away. But then when you get the top-down view, he is definitely scooching toward the dumpster, and then his head just disappears, and it's not because a walker is covering it up. It could be a shadow. His head just could have gone under a shadow, or it could have gone under the dumpster. You really can't tell. But he's definitely moving.
Very interesting. Now, my thing is, like, with all of those walkers that are around, like, and because you get also the shot of the alley that they're in with all the walkers, and that thing is like packed to the gills, and it seems like there's still more who are trying to pile in. So then the question remains, well, how does he get out then? Because it's not just a thing of, oh well, all right, well, they're going to eventually leave. No, we already know walkers don't leave without something distracting them and pulling them away. And also you had the walkers that were on the other side of the fence. So something would have to pull them away, and we haven't seen anybody else from the group who's nearby that would be able to distract them. Rick is screwed right about now because, the RV won't start, and Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham are way off in the distance as well. So, I want to believe that he's alive. I mean, that photo gave every indication that he is alive. It's just the how would they pull it off without making it seem cartoony.
Right. Yeah, I just want to chime in. Tyrion Lannister in the chat room just says that there's a quick clip in the trailer that shows two people with flashlights in the sewers, which is how some people think he will survive. So what do you think of that possibility?
Maybe there's a manhole cover under the dumpster, and he's going to somehow get it off and go down the sewers. I don't know, maybe. I think if he gets out, somebody's going to have to come get him. Or because he's got the radio still, he can call for help if he's still alive.
Yeah, that is a definite possibility. But you got to think, dumpsters are pretty low to the ground.
Yeah.
And the manhole cover off and then crawl into the dumpster.
Not exactly feasible.
Well, there's another theory I've heard about, which I think is more feasible, and it was sort of a callback to the first season of how Rick and Glenn covered themselves in guts and walker guts in order to make themselves smell as walkers and pretend that they're walkers and walk out. And since Glenn was covered in Nicholas's guts, they say it's possible he'll just pretend to be a walker and walk out.
I've seen that theory, but since Nicholas's blood was still fresh, I don't think that would work with his blood. It would have to be, decayed, old, dirty Walker blood.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing. Even like every other character who's ever done that, it's always been that they've always got that from a Walker, not from a fresh body. Because I would imagine that a fresh body is going to attract them even more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just the smell of the blood.
Yeah.
I have other theories on how he could possibly get out, but it's drawing from knowledge from the comics, and like I said, I'm really apprehensive about spoiling things for people. So.
I don't mind if we can give a spoiler warning right now for anyone watching this who doesn't want to know, but I'm curious.
Okay. All right, spoiler warning. I guess if you don't want to know anything from the comics, you want to be completely surprised. I guess leave now or mute the chat.
Yeah.
All right. So in the comics, there's a character named Jesus, and his real name is Paul Monroe, but everybody calls him Jesus because he looks like Jesus, and he kind of he's an ultimate badass. The guy is awesome. And I just kind of feel like he's been laying back watching this whole time, and he sees Glenn, and he's going to make the distraction to lure the walkers away and rescue Glenn. And that'll be this great intro, because he has this awesome intro in the comics, which I don't really think they can do, and this will be a great lead-in for that character.
Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, and then I guess, they can go into his whole backstory and figure out where the hell he's been at for all of this time, right? That is a very interesting theory, because somebody would have to distract all those walkers. There's no way that they just all decide to leave. Glenn would starve to death before those walkers left, even if he was hiding under the dumpster.
That's going to be like the next 4 episodes is Glenn under the dumpster starving to death slowly.
Yeah. I still like the camouflage there. I mean, it's possible he could get walkers instead of Nicholas to cover
They did kill a few right in front of the dumpster, so there are dead walkers down there.
Yeah. But it's possible. But, all right, so theories aside, here's the major question is what would you prefer? What would you prefer that he actually be dead or prefer that he come back? Because there's a lot of mixed feelings about this. In some situations, see it as like a lose-lose situation because either he's dead and that sucks because that's an awful death for a main character, or he comes back, which can seem a bit silly and contrived.
Well, if he's dead, I'm going to be really irritated because his death in the comics, then that's going to have to go to somebody else. So,
Right.
And I don't know who they'll use for that. If he's alive, yeah, it just seems like, yeah, we're watching a show about zombies, but it seems a little far-fetched.
So are you, sorry, Josh, are you on the fence then? Is there one you would prefer over the other?
I would prefer him to be alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although I will admit it would seem really pretty silly.
Listen, I would prefer him to be alive as well. Look, I think we have seen walkers distracted before, like kind of last minute things, with fire, which is part of the reason why they were looking for that feed building, which was already burned down. I mean, listen, it would have to be a phenomenal distraction to get them to leave Glenn alone if he isn't already ripped to shreds. And yeah, then the question to me still remains, I mean, did any one of them get any kind of scratch or bite on him at all?
Right.
Because one scratch and it's pretty much over, and obviously one bite, we know how it ends for you there. So, yeah, it is definitely something where, like, I want him to be alive, but it would. I just don't know how you get the logistics worked out where it wouldn't seem like just a ridiculous miracle, because sometimes there are miracles that happen on certain TV shows, and you're like, okay, you know what, I can buy that, and then other ones you're like, oh, come on, really, that's what you did. So,
Well, I'm trying to think. Is there a case in The Walking Dead so far where a character sort of was thought to be dead and then comes back, or would this be a first?
Tyrese came awfully close when they were in the big herd there when we were going to get the medicine, but Tyrese is a freaking beast, and Glenn's not.
Well, there was the other one too where he didn't kill that one guy from Terminus, and he wound up getting locked outside, and I don't even think he had his hammer then, and he was surrounded by that herd of walkers, and
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, he's done for, and then it's like 10 minutes later he shows back up again. I'm like, but you just had like 30 of them around you. How did you? And no weapon.
They're all smashed against trees and.
Yeah, and then after that he became like the biggest wimp of all time, which kind of pissed me off. Like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but I don't think there's been anything to this level where you saw somebody and it appeared that they were being ripped apart, and then they showed like, hey guys. Yeah, nothing to that level yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If there was, I can't remember it.
So we all agreed then that, because I actually hope that he's alive as well, just because I like that character and I think that would be a really shitty death. But are we all agreed then that it would be a bit contrived and a bit like, oh come on, if he actually survives this?
I'm going to assume they're better writers than I am, and that they could write him out of this, and they've thought of something that I just can't think of right now.
Yeah,
Don't believe me. I've been racking my brain about it for ever since Sunday night, and the only thing I can come up with is Jesus.
Which, I mean, like, wow, that was one of those things that was like, yes, Jesus has saved your life.
Yeah. Jesus saves.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about, Josh, is because in your prediction video, I saw that you were saying that you thought Glenn would come back, but not until the second half, the back half of season 6.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, because some of these theories, like, if he still has the radio on him, like, it seems like I'm just curious why he wouldn't radio Rick before then, or I guess perhaps it could get destroyed, or just wondering how plausible that is that we have to wait that long to find out.
That just seems like something they would do. That's really where that theory comes from. And also, I mean, just in the scene, like his shoulder holster that he's wearing, it just vanishes. Like he's wearing it and then he's not. So we don't really know where the radio is. We can assume that he still has it, but we don't know. And it could have fallen off when he fell or anything. You know, it's really hard to say. But I think if he survives, I don't think we're going to see him for the rest of 6A. I think he'll be probably back in the 6B premiere.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, I would be upset about that, but I think you're right. This is the kind of thing that Walking Dead likes to do because, like, how long was it, like, that we went without Morgan and all of a sudden he popped up again?
Yeah.
It's like a really long time.
And it seems like these first 3 episodes, they take place over the course of basically a couple of hours. So they're telling this very slow story. And so they could easily, stall it off to have him, he doesn't come back until 6B, and he's only been gone for a couple of days.
Right. So that spoiler we were talking about before where he was spotted on set, was that presumably from the second half of season 6 then?
Yes, because it was taken during current filming, I think right when they started for 6B.
Oh, okay, right.
But again, it could be a flashback. We really don't know. Or he could just be on set because Michael Rooker just visits the set all the time.
Oh, right. All right.
Yeah, and I highly doubt we're going to see Merle, unless
Yeah, exactly.
Twin zombie Merle or something like that. But no, that wasn't me, and I actually never lost my hand either.
All right, cool. So I think we can wrap this discussion up then. It was really nice that you both joined me for the discussion of The Walking Dead. Because, as people familiar with my channel know, I don't typically do, like, Walking Dead episodes, like, reviews of every single episode. I usually wait till, like, the half season's over and then do the whole thing. Although next year I'm going to try to start doing it next year for 6B. It's just I have too many videos at the moment. So it was good, but once I saw this Glenn's death, I thought, well, I have to talk about that. I can't wait until the mid-season's over. So it's good to have people who actually, follow The Walking Dead, know a lot more about it, talk about it, and it was a really good conversation. Thanks a lot for joining. Don Willi, if you want to give a real quick shout-out.
Yeah, for everybody who does not know who I am, I do Walking Dead reviews, Game of Thrones, character spotlights. I'm doing character spotlights for everyone from The Walking Dead, and I've got 3 up so far. Carol, Rick, and Daryl, and I guess this week I'll do Glenn, with the caveat that Glenn might not be dead. So, check me out, my channel. I'm pretty sure the link will be in the description. And, before I forget, bend the knee.
All right, and yeah, cool, and thanks a lot for joining, Josh. I know we've been trying to get like a discussion video going for a while now because I'm a huge fan of your channel. Yeah, so it's great to finally get you on board. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here, man.
Cool. Yeah, do you just want to give a quick word about GeekonReview?
Absolutely. I'm Josh from GeekonReview. My partner is Anna. She's not here tonight, and we do Walking Dead reviews, Game of Thrones, Penny Dreadful, Orphan Black. We do all kinds of reviews of basically our favorite shows. So if you're into any of that kind of stuff, definitely, we'd love to hear from you. We try to reply to as many comments as we can. We love interacting with the viewers. And yeah, man, it's just come check us out.
Cool. Oh, and I just wanted to ask you real quick, will you be doing a Heroes Reborn review tonight?
I'm still debating on it. Heroes Reborn, I was with it for about the first 2.5 episodes, and it just kind of lost me.
Oh, really? All right.
They're doing the slow build, and I think it's just a little too slow.
Okay, so you might sort of drop out of that one.
Yeah, I think I might. And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of interest in it from other people. So.
All right. Yeah. No, I'll probably review that once the whole season's finished and have a look back.
I might do the same thing. Wait till it's over and then just do it all at once.
So you know what? We might have to do this again just for Heroes Reborn.
Right. So you checking that out too, Don?
Yeah, I'm checking it out. Yeah, I'm reserving judgment on how I feel about it until it's all over. I will agree that it has been quite a slow burn thus far.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's as good as Heroes Season 1, but so far I'm liking it better than the other seasons of Heroes, which I didn't like at all. So it's not really saying much.
Season 2 was the only one I didn't like.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think that was right in the middle of the writer's strike, so that one kind of gets a pass.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Cool. All right, so I guess we'll wrap it up now. Thanks, everyone, for joining the chat, and thanks for joining if you're watching this later. And thank you, Josh and Don. Make sure you check out both their channels and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.